So I have this terrible toothache. Can't shave. So they gave me this mouthwash. I always wondered what happens if you get a terrible toothache in the hospital. I'm finding out. I gave me this mouthwash that has everything in it. And so I can barely speak. My mouth is like asleep. Everything on the inside is asleep except the toothache. Bad I still feel. But that's pretty much it. So I'm getting out of here on Tuesday. It looks like they're going to be discharging me. I'm going to have to get dialysis for about 4 or 5 more weeks. It is not permanent. It's not forever. It's just for 4 or 5 weeks. And that's it. Then I am fully recovered and getting my life back together. So everyone who's been asking, I appreciate it. I really do appreciate all the kind words and everyone's concern. But it should be, God willing, just a few more weeks of dialysis. They say my kidneys are self-correcting now. It's not like it's a final stage renal failure. It's just some sort of acute failure. So whatever the case, it seems to be much better. So I'm looking forward to that. Otherwise, I'm stuck here watching. They keep playing the same shows, The Sopranos. I never saw The Sopranos, but now I've seen it a lot. And they play Pretty Woman, at which point a nurse walks in and starts to cry. Look, I'm a guy, it doesn't affect me. And then I can't change the channel because she's sitting here. I gotta get out of here. But ordering Papa John's pizza, that may have been my mistake. Because everything was fine. Then I had that pizza, and then the toothache came. But it was worth it. It was so good. It's got everything on it. Everything. And giant meatballs on top of everything. So, does it hurt? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely. And out of here Tuesday, and then back to work, back to everything normal, and no more snake bites. No more snake bites. I hope. The nurse got bit by a spider, by a giant, brown recluse. I don't know the name of the spider. Something like brown recluse spider. She got this giant wound. And they found the body of the spider in her pocketbook. Ew. I hate spiders. Spiders scare the crap out of me. That's like the one thing, man. Don't bring me near a spider because I will get dizzy and just start to pass out for real. I can't take them. So, other than that, other than the toothache in the hospital, everything's okay except the lady next door passed away. She died. And I feel so bad because, I didn't know her. I never even met her. But just the fact that she died by herself and I was here, I could have been there. Like right through the wall. If I had just known, I would have been happy to have sat there with her. And maybe it would have been nice for both of us, She would have company. I would have company. But I didn't know, and I just heard about it after. And it's terrible to die alone in the hospital, surrounded by people on the outside, but nobody with you. It's a terrible thing, and I just kind of wish I had had the opportunity to sit with her or something. But again, I never even met her. I don't know what she looks like, but I think she's still there. So, I have to talk to whatever they do. They gotta do what they do now. But I just think it's very unfortunate and sad, and I wish I had known. And I only mention it because it makes you think, how many other people could die like that? Maybe it would be good to visit, people in the hospital. I did a few stories on people who are getting palliative care and just how much it can matter just for someone to sit there, just to be with them, just to read them stories or whatever. And, if you have, say, a skill in, say, Spanish or any foreign language, and there's a person who maybe doesn't speak that much English, you could read them stories in their native language and make a real difference. To think that this poor woman died all by herself in the hospital room, you know, maybe something can come from that. You know, I'll definitely be visiting people in the hospital and sitting with them as they get dialysis. I never knew what it was about. I had no idea. But now I have a certain empathy for them, and I'll definitely get involved. But I hope you'll think about it. You know, there's a lot one can do. Separately, migraines. The things that are from outside the hospital sometimes follow you in. Separately, I've started to talk about the experience that I had, the pain, the agony of getting bitten, the pain just ripped apart from the inside, and just you being undone, your organs is coming undone, just stopping one by one, and then when there's so little you left, the hallucinations beginning, and the hallucinations were terrible. When I think about that, and I think about anyone ever feeding a live animal, whatever it may be, to a venomous snake, it just should never. We don't have the right. We don't have the right, and if you think that you do, you don't. And if you think that, well, in the wild they eat live. We're not in the wild, and you're not going to be able to replicate those situations. And there has to be some innovative, more intelligent way to get around it. I just cannot. I cannot fathom ever allowing any other living creature to go through what I went through, and I know what it is, and it is such. There's no words. It's just an agonizing. There's a word in English called ineffable. It means something that cannot be described. This is ineffable. There is no description. All I can tell you is that no living creature should ever be exposed to this, ever, no matter what. And I don't care what anyone says. I truly don't care what anyone says. They don't know. I know. They don't know what it goes through, you know. And you see a baby mouse or a rat. It's always bothered me. It's already disturbing to see it in the corner cowering. It knows what's going to happen. But it's something very different to see that all that is beyond justified. That the agony it goes through it's not just pain. It's so much more than that. And we don't have the right to impose such suffering ever on any animal. And, you know, no offense, I don't care what you think. I don't care what anyone thinks. It should be illegal. It's wrong. It's immoral. It's illegal in England. It should be illegal here. I've never, ever favored increased regulation. I just believe more in freedom. But when it comes to this one thing, I'm afraid that people do it because they like to watch it. They want to see it suffer. They have some sick, sadistic tendencies in them. And if it were just that, if it were just an animal dying, just dying, that would be one thing. But this kind of suffering, this kind of suffering from envenomation, it cannot be allowed. It cannot be allowed. I don't want to hear about nature. I don't care. I've heard all of those arguments my whole life. And I've always made some peace with them. Not now. No, it's very different now that I know what they go through. And I feel like I was the mouse. If that makes any sense. I know what they're going through. And people have been telling me, well, it's such a massively large dose to them comparatively because of their size. No, you don't get to get off that easy. You know, no one has the right to say, well, it's easy for them. No. You know, the snake has to eat. Yes. The seal too will do it the least painful way possible. I don't think there's any real humane way. There's always going to be pain, but fine. They have to eat. We understand. You know, as a snake order, you know, going in. You know, looking at a strictly carnivore diet, but it doesn't have to be a strictly live diet. There are ways around it. You heat it up, you move it around. There's all sorts of things one can do. And I don't have all the answers. All I know is that there should be answers. And I just will never, ever condone feeding a venomous snake live, ever. And you shouldn't. You just shouldn't. You should just, I'm asking you just to please believe me when I tell you that it's too bad. It's too painful. There's too much that happens. It's not just pain, it's way beyond pain. And you can't tell. You can't tell by looking at it. You know, they can't express themselves. And even if they did, who would really care? The people that are watching these things. You know, there are YouTube channels where people just tune in to watch mice suffer. I know one. They do. And there's one guy who he takes this very perverse pleasure in watching them suffer. He takes very bad care of them. So they're suffering already. I'm not a crusader on any issue, and I never was. But when it comes to this one thing, you know, please don't tell me that, you know, nature knows better, or you know it better, or it's just the way it has to be, or it's what's natural, or if I can't take it, I should leave the hobby. No, you're just wrong. You're just, in this one case, I never speak like this, but in this one case, you're just wrong. You don't know what they go through. And I guess there's no real way for me to ever put into words. You can't verbalize pain, just like you can't verbalize a smell, really. You can't get someone to understand it. All I can do is ask you to believe. You know, I have absolutely no motive to lie. I don't get anything from this. But the satisfaction of knowing that no one should ever have to go through this again. I know the snake has to eat, but there are other ways. And if you don't continuously experiment with them, you're not going to know. If you say here and you give it something alive, it's easier. It is. It's easier just to put something alive in there, and then you don't have to be involved. It's less risky, and there's all sorts of, you know, it's just easier. But it's not right. It's not right, and I'm asking you, I'm begging you to just listen to me on this one thing. You know, people, there's hundreds of thousands that hate me, and there's hundreds of thousands that love me. None of that matters right now. You know, I'm asking you as a human being just to listen to me, and just don't feed venomous snakes live, ever. You'll never know what they go through. I don't think anyone ever really has until now. People have been bit, they've been envenomated, but not like this. Not, you know, from a neurotoxin. It's just not like this. So, you know, we just have to find a way to do better. I'm so sick of watching The Sopranos. I keep playing the same thing. Anyway, thank you for all of your kind words. I sincerely appreciate them. And I'll be getting out soon, so Tuesday. And again, I don't need dialysis for the rest of my life. I know people have been thinking that, and I get so many texts and so on, people expressing concern, and they're sorry that I have to go through this forever. I don't have to go through it forever, and I appreciate you, but I don't have to go through it forever. I'm going to stay involved. I'm going to get my own care done over the next 5-6 weeks, whatever it is, and I'm going to definitely be a volunteer to sit with people who get dialysis, and I hope you'll consider that, because there's many more than you think. There are cruises that people take around the world that offer dialysis. I didn't know what a prevalent thing it was. And in the hospital downstairs, they have like a giant, it looks like a food court in a mall, like a giant food court. But it's just for dialysis. It's just patients, just dialysis patients. I don't know why they call them dialysis patients. You're not a chemotherapy patient. You're a cancer patient. I'm a snake bite patient. I don't know why you would be called a dialysis patient. But in any case, whatever the case, the people that are receiving dialysis, there's tons of them, and there's a nurse for each one. It's like filled up. I never knew. I had no idea that it was such a common thing. But, you know, thank God it does the wonderful thing. It keeps people alive. It's like having a kidney outside of your body, cleansing your blood and giving it back. And as exhausting as it is, and as cold as you get, and as strange as it feels to feel your own blood coming in, you know, it keeps you alive. So, yeah, I coming to the hospital and being sick, it's like being a med student. You learn so much about the human body and about people, and also just talking to the nurses in the ICU, the stories they have. My God, you know, things are, the stories you hear about what the drug dealers are doing these days, and the kind of bullets that are being made by just the thought that goes into hurting people. It's incredible. It's just incredible, you know. So here we are, and we have the ability to make things worse for each other, or to make them better. So here's hoping. Thank you for everything. I truly appreciate it.